Hey, what's going on, everybody? Tim Castman here, and you've done it. OMG, you have done it. You have made it to Module 5, the most exciting module, because this is where we stop talking and we start doing. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you've made it all the way to Module 5 and the starting and scaling module. Now, we've already talked about our niche research. We've already talked about how to write these books yourself, how to outsource them, how to do the publication and promotion. And now, ladies and gentlemen, now we start the machine that is going to begin our self-publishing business and over time increase in value, increase of worth, efficiency, and all of those amazing things. So let's stop talking about it and let's start doing it. So again, welcome to Bite Size Books and welcome to Starting and Scaling. Now, let's get started right away. And to do that, you need to answer a question. And it's a question I've asked before, but it's a question I want you to have in the front of your mind when making the rest of these decisions. And that is this: what do you want to do with this book? Flat out, why do you want to publish your book? Is it for branding? Is it for expertise? Is it a fun side project? Or are you just here and in it to make as much money as humanly possible, as ethically as possible? All of those answers perfectly fine and acceptable. You need to know this going in. You need to know your why, so to speak, so you can take that information and it will help you filter out all the extraneous, unnecessary stuff that you need to do for every other decision going forward. Because if you just want to write this book to make money, then you're going to follow pretty much everything I say to a T. If it's just a fun side project, you may not want to be as advanced as I'm going to recommend in terms of getting a email list set up. If you're just like, hey, I just want to get it out there and do that. If it's just a one and done so that you can go give a presentation at the local Chamber of Commerce, nothing wrong with that at all. But you need to know what it is that you want to accomplish going into this, which is going to lead you to your second question, which is, are you going to write this book yourself? Are you going to outsource it? Or are you going to do the hybrid author method? Again, either one is perfectly fine. I've actually done all three. All three of them have their own pluses and minuses, which you saw in the individual trainings. But above all, they all three work. For me, with nonfiction books, I'm going to write them myself or use hybrid authors. But when it comes to fiction, I 100% have to outsource those just because I don't know what the heck's going on or what I'm doing, nor would I be able to write a quality romance, erotica, recipe book, anything along those lines. Now, once you have that figured out, it's time to start doing the research. And again, if you need some help with that, go back to the bestseller breakdown model and the module and say, okay, we'll go through that step by step by step. Check out the research spreadsheet. Go to Amazon. Do everything you need to do to start this research process. And do not spend all month, year, decade on this. So many people go, oh, I'm working on it, I'm doing some research. Set a deadline, okay? Work expands to the time that you allow it to, but if you set a deadline and say, listen, I'm only going to give myself 7 days, I'm only going to give myself 5 hours, I'm only going to give myself however much time you feel you need, plus a little less, to get started, I promise you'll be more successful. So take it, condense it, chunk it, say, okay, I'm only going to give myself 7 days. We're going to go with that 7 days for research. When you give yourself that 7 days, I want you to spend some time looking over the books that are already written about the same topic that you're considering. Model winners. Don't go at this alone. Don't go at it with a blank sheet. Go find the ones that are already selling, that people already are enjoying, that people are already buying, responding to, reading, and all that great stuff. And find out what is in those books. Read the books if you need to. Okay? Definitely check out the table of contents, see the main points that they cover. All right? And definitely check out the reviews, because that is going to give you 99% of what you need to know, because it's going to show you, hey, if you check out 1, 2, 3 different authors and they all have the same nonfiction topics in their books, chances are that's one you might want to cover. If you read the reviews and you find this one has a bad editor, this one has poor grammar, this one has too many stories, this one's cover looks like a third grader threw up on it and they created it through MS Paint, those are all things that you need to actively be looking at. So read the table of contents, read the reviews, read the books. Go to a place like Goodreads and check out what consumers are saying about it. right? Check out what consumers are saying about it and readers are saying about it. Find everything you can about those people. Go look at their social media profiles, check their websites out, do your reconnaissance up front. I promise you it'll pay you back tenfold because you will have what you need to be successful. And once you do that, then you can come up with your improvement plan. And that is basically saying, okay, I've done all the research. I've read some of the books if necessary. I've looked at the table of contents. I've read the reviews. I see what people like. I see what they don't. I've done some social media stalking. They have a website, but they don't have a social media profile. They don't have an email list, but they do have this. And that's when you start really being able to craft your improvement plan and say, what can I do that they're already doing and improve upon it to make sure that it's working better for me than it is for them. And it can be simple things. It can be like having a better cover than they do. Does their cover stink of self-publishing? If it does, have one created for you that does not, and one that looks professional and stands out and looks like it's been professionally produced. Hiring an editor, that is the easiest, most simplest thing you can do next to having a better cover to bring in more sales and keep in happy customers, because if there are grammatical errors, if there are punctuation errors, that can lead to a negative experience, which can lead to more negative reviews. Hire an editor. Can you have a higher quality story or characters? Again, when you're doing your outline, if you're doing fiction and you see that the author is constantly being critiqued on their story structure, on their characters, on whatever it is, how can you improve upon it? All right, and again, skill and strategy. And what I mean by that is, maybe they don't have a social media profile. Maybe they don't have an email list. Maybe they don't have a website. I love that. I love going into a market where they don't have that stuff, because I know through skill and strategy alone, I am going to be successful where they have struggled, because I'm going to have a better cover. I'm going to make sure it's professionally edited, formatted. I'm going to make sure that the flaws that were in their books are addressed in ours. And because they don't have a social media strategy, because they don't have an email list, because they don't have a website, well, then that's where I am going to dominate. Another way you can dominate is by creating an outline. Now, you can totally go off cuff if you want to. I prefer to have an outline. I just find it shortens your time, it shortens your workload, it shortens everything. There is very little downside to being prepared. But again, just like research, I don't want you taking forever, to do this. I want you to have something created or written for you or created for you within another 7 days. So once you've done this, okay, you've done your improvement plan and you know exactly what you want to do to better their best, then I want you to start creating your outline. You can use a table of contents, you can use your research. If you're doing nonfiction, use the nonfiction writing formula, the what, the how, the why, the if then. Okay, even though I totally butchered the order of that. So I'll do it in order for people who are OCD. Why, what, how, if then. Spend some time off the computer. Go get a yellow legal pad and some pens. I promise you it'll be the most lucrative thing that you have, sitting down and figuring that out. If you're going to do fiction, then go out, find someone that is already written about that topic. So someone that's already a subject matter expert. Hire a plot writer. Have them create have them create plots from those ideas that they came up with, and consider, if you need to, and you don't want to go through the hassle of having plots created for you, consider buying pre-made plots. It's also great to have examples of books, especially if you're going to outsource them, where you say, hey, I like this book, I like this part of this book, I like that book, I like that part of this book. There is no shortage of information out there. It's just how you interpret it, how you use it, and how you use it successfully to, again, better your best. Now, once you've got the outline done, now we have to do the work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some effort. There's going to be some frustrations, and that is okay, because you doing the work is immediately going to put you above and beyond 90% of the people that always go, well, Tim, I've always wanted to write a book. Well, I've always wanted to do this. Well, I've always wanted to do that. Well, I've always, right? You go from being a pretender to a contender, right? You go to someone that is actually doing what they said they want to do. So if you want to start writing the book yourself, you know how to do that. Go back, watch the hybrid author section, check out the 2KH formula, the creativity checklist, create your outline, and get to work. If you want to hire a ghostwriter, go check out the KD outsourcing section. Make sure that you hire at least 2 writers, and you follow the prompts that I've told you. Use my hiring template to get started. Make sure you hire those 2 writers. Keep a short leash on them at first, and once you have a proven winning writer or winning writers, which would be amazing to have 2 amazing writers right off the bat, and it can happen to you, then know what your plans are in the future with them. Are they going to write another book in the series? These are things you need to know up front so that you can plant the seed for a brighter future for them. So what I mean by that is, hey, I want you to write this first book. We're looking at a 3-book deal here, or a 3-story deal, along with future work on top of that. And ultimately, once you start doing the work, once you've committed, you say, okay, I've got my topic, I've got my niche, I've got my outline, I've done my improvement plan, I'm getting ready to write this book myself or outsource it. That's when you start teasing the work. Show your work, right? Put it on Facebook, put it on social media, put it on your blog. Just start generating a buzz, because people are going to want to see what you're doing and what you're up to. And don't forget, while you're creating all this and you start this whole process, to create your ethical bribe. If you're going to do fiction, have a second story written. Remember, that's why I have you write 2 or hire 2 authors at the beginning. Use the best story for the one that you're going to publish on Amazon. Use the other one as your free giveaway. And if they're both awesome, fantastic, we can eventually get to where we're putting them both on Amazon. But you want to have a free giveaway. Having an email list is the simplest, smartest thing you could ever do to create more money for you long term. Having an email list allows you to build that trust, that relationship, get reviews, get ideas, get input, and so much more. You also, if you're going to do this for nonfiction, you want to have something that's a high perceived value. It could be another book if you wanted to. It could be a book outline. It could be a workbook. You could do a video, which is nothing more than you reciting your rough draft or running through your rough draft. You could have an interview with you and somebody else where it sounds like they're interviewing you, asking you questions about your book. Or you can find someone else that maybe is a similar author, similar niche, someone that maybe has a higher perceived value than you do, interview them and give that away as a free book, or excuse me, as a freebie as well. You also want to select a pen name, get a domain, and set up the squeeze page. So for nonfiction books, they are all under my name, but every other genre we're in, romance, erotica, recipe books, and other niches like that, they all have pen names. I always do pen names because I don't want it to be confusing to the end buyer. So if they click on my name at the Author Central and they see my name there and they go, oh my goodness, what's going on here? Tim writes recipe books, romance books, erotica books, children's books, illustrated books. This doesn't make any sense to me. That is a problem. For me, that's a problem. So what I do is I select pen names. The way I do that, couple tips for you. If it is a female-driven niche, then I typically try to have a female name. So if it's romance, typically those are well respected by female authors. So what I will do is I will take the persona of a female author. By the way, all of this is 100% legal and in full compliance with Amazon's terms of service. And to get those pen names, I do something extremely complicated and crazy, and that is this. I will go to Amazon, I will not go to Amazon. I will go to Facebook, and I will find the first female's names that's made a post. And let's say her name is Rachel. Then I take Rachel's first name, okay? Then I scroll down, I look for another female's name, and I take her last name. Then I take those 2 first and last names, I combine them. Then what I do is very simple. I just go and put it into Amazon and into Google, and I just check to see what the responses are. As long as nothing nefarious comes up, meaning they're not like, an adult film actress, which you may laugh, but I've had that happen before. They're not super well known. Like let's say I wanted to go up against Tim Ferriss, and I tried to take that name. That'd probably be pretty stupid considering how busy and SEO'd that guy's name is. And as long as there's no red flags, I will typically say, okay, that's my name. Then I will go to somewhere like Namecheap. I'll put it in there and make sure that I can get the domain for the name. So one of our, what's the best way to describe this? One of our pen names for one of our niches is Mika James. So when I had this done, I basically took all the information I just told you. I went to Google, nothing popped up. I went to Amazon, nothing popped up. I went to Namecheap, and I got MikaJames.com. Set that up. Then all I did after that was set up the squeeze page again to collect email addresses so I can send them their free ethical bribe, but also email them, asking them for reviews, asking them for feedback, asking them for input, asking them for a lot of interesting things anytime that I needed something. I've got a new book coming out. I need more reviews, or I'd like to have your reviews. I have 3 topics for book ideas. Which one would you like to see me create? You can do a lot of interesting and amazing things by having your email list. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to enroll in KDP, because we're going to take advantage of their free promotional days, their countdown timers, the KD Unlimited, and whatever other programs they come out between now and the end of time. Just do it. If you can't make it work on Amazon, you're not going to make it work anywhere else. Just telling you the harsh reality. If you're not going to make it work on Amazon, or you can't get it to work on Amazon, you're not going to make it work anywhere else. So while this is all going on, you want to start doing a little bit more research. You want to start researching your keywords. As of this recording, you're allowed 7 keywords. Right? As of this recording, 7 keywords. I will typically do the author's name. I will do the main keyword that I think. So writing, for example, for nonfiction, erotic short stories for some. And again, I'm just trying to find those 7 keywords that I feel when people are actively searching. To do that, it's very simple. You take your primary keyword, you put it into Google, you do a little space, and when you do that, all these suggestions are going to pop up. Check those out, and once you see those, then you'll be able to say, okay, well, if I type in erotica short story and then space, and motorcycle club comes up and it's a motorcycle story, then great, I will definitely do that. If it's not, then obviously I wouldn't. So doing those little, I call it the ghetto keyword finder, where it's really just taking your main keyword, putting the letter A, then B, then C, then D, then E, and going through the whole alphabet, you will generate more than enough keywords. Then you're going to start working on your book description. For fiction, I have all my writers write their book description, and what I do is I give them the top 3 to 5 books that I liked in that genre, and I say, hey, just model your description after their description. If I had to write it myself, I would take the top 3 to 5 books that I liked, look at their descriptions, not their job descriptions, their book descriptions, model mine after theirs. Again, look at your competition's book covers and how can you stand out from what they're already doing. And again, ultimately look into hiring an editor to work on your book. Yes, it's a little bit of cost. Yes, it's a little bit of time. But again, I promise you, if you do these little things, you get a nice cover made, you have a professional editor edit the work, it will come back to you tenfold. It will come back to you tenfold because you are going to start standing out from others who have gone the self-publishing route. And as a result of that, more people are going to look at your cover, read your description, and hopefully that's going to translate to more sales, more reviews, and more happy customers in the long term. And then, once the book is finished, again, pay someone to edit and format the book for you. I always pay an editor and I always pay someone to format the book. That way I can make sure it's done to my quality standards and specifications, but I don't actually have to do the work myself. Once it's done, pick a date, at least 7 to 10 days, because you're going to need that long to put the book out, to make sure it's uploaded on Amazon, to let all the free websites or the niche websites that you want to write these books about. You want to put that all 7 to 10 days in the future so you can go out there and start promoting your book. You can hire people on Fiverr. I showed you that in the KDP program to help you promote your book using the KDP days. And bottom line is it's time to get busy. And you got to decide, are you going to do the pump the brakes method that I taught you? Or are you going to do the sweepstakes method that I taught you? Or are you just going to go, hey, I'm going to make it free. I'm going to post on a bunch of websites or have someone post for me. When that happens, I'm going to start making sales. Then I'm going to get reviews. Then I'm going to get email lists. You ultimately decide your promotional plan. If I was just getting started, I would do the pump the brakes promotion. That way I can start making some money. I can start getting sales. sales, I can start getting actual sales rankings, I can get reviews, and I can start building an email list. And to do that, you want to start working on your autoresponder email and social media posts telling people about your newly released book and requesting reviews, because the bottom line is, right, we're off. We're getting ready to launch the dang book. So we launch the book, and before you launch it, I want you to do a quick tally of all your numbers. So what did it cost you to outsource that book? What did it cost you to get a cover made? What did it cost you for an editor, cover, format, all that stuff, so that you know when you get close to break even and you start making a profit. And I'll share with you why you want to know that information in just a second. And ideally, and I will admit that I am not always perfect about this, but ideally, you want to have your next great idea in your head, and an outline would be even better for your next book, and have it ready to go. So I've got this idea, I've got this outline in my head, would be even better. On paper would be amazing for your next book, and have it ready to go. And when the book is launched, it's time for you to be bold. This is not for you to be meek. Be proud of your accomplishments. Again, publishing puts you in the top 5-10% initially just because you actually got off your ass and did the work. So post about your book on social media. Encourage your friends and family to buy, to share, to do anything they can to help support your cause. Email your list if you have one, and if you don't, be sure to set up an email collection one so that the next time you release your book, you put it out there, you email your list, you say, hey, I've got this book, it's brand new, it's 99 cents for 3 days. You send a beginning email on day 1, you send a closing email on day 3, you profit in between. And that is really how you start getting the momentum, that snowball effect, if you will, to be really, really successful. Your whole goal here is to push hard for 3 days, those initial 3 days, make your book 99 cents, put it out there, get results, get sales, get reviews, have all of those coming and just helping you out to elevate your status, your book ranking, your reviews. All of those things are all going to come together in this perfect storm, if you will. You start getting on hot new release list, a most requested list, most wished for. There's a ton of different benefits by having this hard push for 72 hours to create a bunch of sales, a bunch of reviews, downloads, all of those great things. I really want you to push hard for those 3 days and provide daily updates and tally your results, and also keep track of not only your expenses but your income. So if you sold 100 books at $2 a pop or 99 cents a pop, and you're making 30 cents, all right, you made 30 bucks, okay? Whatever it may be, you just need to keep track of your cost, because the sooner you get to to determine if you have a winner, the sooner you can start scaling up in that niche and industry. Because once you have a winner, okay, and once you're close to breaking even, or you feel like, hey, this is something I want to do more of, then I want you to start working on your next book outline and ultimately your next book. If it's publish or perish, this is not I'm going to write one book, right? I'm going to write one book and be done with it, unless that's your goal from the beginning. If your goal from the beginning is, hey, Tim, I just want to write this one book, share this message with the world and be done with it, great, fantastic. You don't need to worry about writing multiple books. But for most people, especially those that are looking to increase their income, they need to have a regular and prolific schedule of publishing. No less than once every 6 to 8 weeks. Once a month would be amazing. And over time, if you can get that down, you might even be able to get 2 a month if you're just breakneck speed. The more money you make, the more profit you make, the more time that you have there, the more of a catalog that you have, you will become profitable more and more and more over time. That's why it's like a snowball. It starts off slow and small, but over time it builds up its pace over and over and over again until it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then once you have those 3 books published, consider bundling them up. The great thing about doing that is it's a quick win. So you take 3 books, you bundle them all together, you release them for $2.99 initially, and then after those 3 days it bumps up to $4.99. You do it just like a regular book launch. The only difference being is you didn't have to create anything but get a new cover made and have new formatting done for the book. So you're looking at, in my case, probably an additional $20 to get an additional, $2 per sale. So if it costs me $20, all I have to do is make 10 sales of that bundled book to make my money back. Well, I can make 10 sales a month, and with everything that you've learned from here, you definitely can do that. You can go 10 sales a day, 100 sales a day. It will build up over time. Once that happens, you want to start developing your system and structure. So once you've struck gold, so you've got that book, you know, hey, things are good, I'm going to start producing more books and writing them myself or outsourcing them. You want to come up with a promotional calendar and a plan to release those books on a regular basis. So if I said today, hey, things are going awesome and amazing, I want to create or outsource my next book, then I would look on a calendar and say 30 days from today is what day? Okay, how do I work, and then work back from that? Well, in order to get that done, 48 hours before that, I need the book to be ready to be launched. A week before that, I need it to be here. A week before that, and then take them to present day. Get it done. Get it done, put it on a calendar, give yourself a deadline. That way, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to screw around with it. You don't have to think about it. You just know, hey, this week is what needs to happen is this. The week after needs to happen, and you will get to know every single step of the way and exactly where you are based upon that promotional and publication calendar. You can also do some other cool things to increase your profit bottom line. You can do a physical copy of your book, especially via CreateSpace. I recommend if you're going to do that, especially with these bite-sized books, you go for the smallest binding possible. So make it short and fat instead of long and skinny, because you don't want people to be like, oh, it's a booklet. You want people to feel like it has a little bit of weight, a little bit of girth, if you will. And as a result of that, you want to have a pretty small book, especially when you're just getting started, and over time, those will get thicker and thicker and thicker. You can also hire someone on Fiverr to create an audiobook. Have a professional voiceover artist take your book, create an audiobook out of it, and bam, there you go. The reason you would want to do that, by the way, is an additional revenue stream. Whereas Kindle books have decreased in value. You know, you might have been able to get $10 2 years ago. Now you get $2.99. Audiobooks still have a high perceived value and a high actual selling price. So most of those audiobooks are going to run anywhere from $15 to $20. Yes, you can occasionally find a bargain or a discount, but it's very rare or infrequent. And also, you can take the same content you've already created once and release it on different platforms. Put it on the Nook. Put it on Kindle is going to be on, obviously. Put it on the Nook. Put it on Smashwords. Put it on Kobo. Put it on whatever it is that you feel is going to be successful and give you a chance at making more sales. Sure, it may not account for as much money as Amazon. In fact, I've never put my book on another platform and had it do better on that platform than Amazon. But if it's an extra couple $100 a month and all I had to do was upload it once and do the same thing I had already done again, well, I'm willing to do that. Because ultimately what you're looking to do here is you're looking to build your brand. Over time, over publications, where one book turns into 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 to however many you end up with, you build up your brand. Your email list, your website, your social media following, you really build up this platform. You build up your name recognition within the publishing community and, most importantly, within your fans. To do that, though, you have to be consistent in your efforts and your publishing schedule. You just have to. It's kind of like podcasts. Podcasts are amazing, and someone holds a weekly podcast, that's great until they stop actually producing said podcast. Okay? Same thing with publishing. If you start, you build up a bunch of momentum, and then you stop, you're screwed. That's the bottom line. If you start and stop, you're screwed. You got to start all over again. Not saying it can't be done. It's just if you've already climbed up to the top of the mountain, I don't know why you'd want to climb down or fall down and climb right back up, or have to climb right back up, as the case may be. Above all, I want you to remember the 3 C's. Consume, create, connect. Consume books just like yours. Consume books not like yours. Keep your idea fires going. Read the news. Don't read OK Magazine or Gossip read the actual news. Read books. Read industry news. Read books that you're interested in. Read books that maybe you're not interested in. Keep the fire going. If you keep the idea generation machine going, you'll be surprised at what happens. And then you have to create. unfortunately, as we get successful, our time becomes more and more valuable, and the thing that we did to be successful in the first place a lot of times gets lost in the shuffle. And I will tell you, as someone that has struggled with finding time to create, you have to be ruthless about this. I love my friends. I love my family. I love the people I work with, but they have strict instructions on certain times a day or certain days of the week to leave me the hell alone unless it's an emergency. Unless you make it a priority for yourself, nobody else will. That's just the truth. Unless you make it a priority yourself, nobody else will. So make sure you consume content. Don't just get stuck there. Go to part 2 and create your own content. Whether it's having it outsourced, whether it's writing it yourself, whatever, make sure you do that. And ultimately connect. Reach out to authors you respect. The fact that I am a published author gets me into a lot of doors that normal people it wouldn't, because I understand the journey. I understand the road they've been on, the ups, the downs, the pluses, the minuses, all of those things. I have experienced those as well. So consume content, create content, and connect with others. Find forums, find Facebook groups, go to Goodreads, interact with people that are reading and buying your materials, and build up a name and a reputation for yourself, a positive one, about what you're able to do and accomplish and what you have done and accomplished, and share that with those who are most interested. And above all, I just want you to keep going, because here's the truth, okay? Right? The truth is this. You are going to make a lot of mistakes at first. It's going to happen. You're going to forget to have this page right. This editing error might have made it all the way into the final manuscript. Maybe the cover has a typo. These things all happen. The great news is, because of the way that we're doing these bite-sized books, nothing is irreplaceable. That's right. Nothing is irreplaceable. Nothing can't be undone. You can always go and redo the cover. You can have it reformatted. You can have another editor take care of it. You can take it down, adjust as necessary, and then make more sales. Okay? But the bottom line is, you are going to make a ton of mistakes at first. In fact, you might even suck. I'm just going to tell you that because you know what? I've sucked at everything I've ever done in my life the first time that I've done it. But with that pig-headed determination to just keep going, eventually you won't. In fact, you might even be good. And before you know it, you truly and honestly can become one of the best writers out there. It is a process. It is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Insert your own motivational quote here. The bottom line that I'm trying to tell you is, if you keep going, you will win, because others will stop. Others will fail. Others will falter, and you just consistently, reliably, steadily, predictably keep going more and more and more and more and more. And before you know it, you've outlasted, you've outwitted, and you've outaccomplished those around you. Because all you have to do is simply take action, because taking action already puts you in the top percent. When you publish your book, you're already within the top 10% of people in this world who have all one day said, oh, I want to do that. I wish I could do that. And instead, they lead those quiet lives of desperation, and you lead that quiet life of determination, and your determination is what's going to make it happen. Don't get overwhelmed. Always remember, you just need to be 2 tiny steps ahead. I'm not asking you to be the best. I'm not asking you to be a replacement for Stephen King or John Grisham or anyone like that. All you have to do is better your best and take 2 tiny little steps ahead. Always. 2 tiny little steps ahead. Always. And as long as you do that, I promise you, there will be people there to follow you, people there that are interested in your journey, and people who want to know more about you, want to connect with you, and want to read what you have to say. And finally, I want to leave you with this. You don't need anyone's permission to succeed. I didn't ask anybody to become a best-selling author. I didn't wait for someone to tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, Tim, it's your time. I said, I want to do this. I'm going to put a plan and a process together to get it done. And once I have that plan and that process done, I'm going to keep improving, tweaking, testing, and over time, I'm going to continue to better my best. When I first got started a few years ago, I had nothing. 0 books, 0 bestsellers, 0 money. Now, consistently, reliably, I can count on money each and every month from Amazon. I have 3, soon to be 4 best-selling books. I'm branched out in several different niches and genres, which I recommend you do to diversify your income and reduce your risk. And as a result of that, when I die, the tombstone will not read this, but the obituary will. Tim Castleman, best-selling author. And I will leave a legacy for my friends and family. I will leave something of value and worth to show to others and to share with others. And I have impacted people in a way that I never thought possible before, all because of bite-sized books. And that can happen with you. I'd love to tell you that I'm some mythical giant with these magical powers. The truth is, I have pig-headed determination. I don't wait for anyone's approval to say, yeah, you can do that. And I just keep going because I want to prove everyone that said I can't do something wrong, and I want to leave an impact, have a lasting value, share my message with the world, and above all, improve those around me. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings the starting and scaling module and the bite-sized books module to completion. It has been my tremendous honor and pleasure to be your tour guide, if you will, on this journey. I will tell you that if you stop this video right now and get to work, you have the best chance of success. Scribble down some ideas, start working on it. Your motivation is high. It's never going to get higher than this moment right now. The work will require some time. It will require some sacrifice, and it will require falling down from time to time. But I can also promise you this. There will be no higher highs in life than seeing your book out there in the world published, and people are excited about it, people are interested in it, people are buying it. And again, it's a snowball effect. Little by little, inch by inch, 2 tiny steps at a time, you are going to be amazed at what you're able to do and accomplish once you get started and once you begin the process of creating your very own bite-sized books. So if you have any question at all about this module or anything else, I will tell you for the last and final time, you can reach out to me at contacttimcastleman@gmail.com. I may not be the fastest in responding to you, but I promise you this. As long as you're a member of the Bite-Sized Books community, you will have access to me. I don't care if somehow one of my books accidentally lands on the New York Times best-selling list or bestsellers list, or I win the lotto tomorrow and become a cajillionaire. My email, my brain, my ideas, and most importantly, my heart will always be open to listen, to help you out, along with anything I can do to help make you successful. Because at the end of the day, I am nothing without you, and I'm everything because of you. So thank you for your time and attention. Thank you for your understanding and your faith in this process, and I cannot wait to be battling it out with you on the bestsellers list. So until next time, I wish you health and happiness. I look forward to seeing you again in the near future.